Okay, this video is to help you complete project number 3, titled See You Again. We're going to talk about exactly what you need to do. We're going to start the same as last week. You're going to go to Google Classroom, find the assignment, and to start it, you have to click the Soundtrap link here. A couple of you were still starting it on your own in Soundtrap by yourself. You can't do that. You got to start it in the Soundtrap link that I give you. This one is especially important that you click this, or else you're not going to have the stuff that I put in there. So you got to click the Soundtrap link. Once you do that, it's going to open Soundtrap. It's going to ask you to log in right here. Okay, so you're going to click log in with Google, just like last time, and you're going to sign in with your Google account, the same Google account you use for Google Classroom. All right, and it's going to ask you to click and put in your password if you need to. If you're already logged in, that's great. It's just loading, and now it's going to load up the project, which should look like this. Alright, so very important, you're going to click that Soundtrap link. The reason that we're doing that is because when this project loads up, I already have a track in here for you. So when you open the project, you should see this red track. If you don't see this, you did it wrong. That means you didn't click the link. Alright, so you need to go back and click the link and open it because you need this in your project. Alright, so what we're doing this week is we are adding instruments to a vocal track or somebody singing. Alright, and this is a song that I'm sure a lot of you know. I had a lot of students learning it on the piano right before we left. Alright, so it is See You Again, Wiz Khalifa and Charlie Puth. So let's just listen.
It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you.
Alright, we get the idea. Okay, so our goal for this project is to add the instruments by using our loops under this vocal track or under this person singing. Okay, so we're going to use this singing as the main part. Then we're going to add the instruments to it and make our song out of this. And so we're going to do the exact same thing we did last week. We add our loops in. We're going to change the volume. All right, we're going to have drums. We're going to have bass. We're going to have piano. And then the fourth instrument, instead of saying synth, you can pick whatever you want. So whatever instrument you want for the fourth one. If you want to add more than 4, that's totally fine, but all you need is 4. And you'll be able to see that in the rubric. Alright, so before we get started, it's very important. This little gray bar over here is our loop bar. Alright, so what we need to do is we need to click it. And if it doesn't happen on the first click, click it again, and it's going to turn purple. This means that it's activated. Alright, and the even more important part about this is that we need to start our loops at measure number 2. So you see where it says 2 over here, you're going to drag it with this arrow over to 2. Super important. Alright, and then we're going to drag this to the end of our red track. And now when we go to our loop library and we add our loops in, they're going to start right here. If they start at the beginning of the song, it's not going to sound good. You want to make sure it starts right on number 2. Okay? So the first thing we need to add is drums. Again, we go to our loop library, open it up, and we're going to find some drums. Okay, so I'm going to click the X on featured because we don't need that. And we're going to click some drums and we're going to find ones that we like. And so this is just a hi-hat. Let's get a full beat in there. We're just going to think of something that's going to go good with this song. So let's keep going. So this is cool. Let's make it a bossa nova. Okay, so I'm going to double click and it's going to add the drums in right here, right on measure number 2, because this is where we set our loop, a little loop mode there. Okay, so if I click play, it's going to start here, and we're going to hear the song with those drums. Alright, sounds good. We're going to keep this playing, and we're going to add bass and piano and everything else, just like last time. Okay, so it's playing, and it's going to loop, and now we're going to get rid of drums, and we're going to go to bass. We're going to find a bass that we like. Alright, so let's try a couple. Nah, that doesn't really go. Right? So you have to think about what's going to go good with that singing. It's interesting. cool. It goes with the drums too. So I'm going to double click. Comes right in. Alright, next thing we need is a piano. So we're going to go to piano. And we're going to listen to some pianos.
Without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh,
I like this one. Cool. Now it's in. Alright, last thing, you can choose any instrument you want. So you can make it a guitar, synth. These are sound effects. You can find anything you want under these, or you can search instruments. So let's say you want a trumpet. No trumpets. Oh, I spelled it wrong. Say you want a trumpet, you get some trumpets. Let's say you want a saxophone, you get some saxophones. So let's add a saxophone in there. This is cool, nice in the background. So double click and it's going to add. Now we have our loops. We're really making this a song now. So we don't need this anymore. We're going to close this. We're going to do exactly what we did last week. We're going to change the volume of everything. So everything goes off. We should just hear the vocal track. And we're not going to touch this. But we're going to adjust the volume of everything else. So the first thing I'm going to do is add the drums. And now I don't want it to go too loud, or else you're not going to be able to hear the vocals. So I'm going to lower it a little until it's how loud I want it to be. I think this is pretty good. Next thing we add is the bass. I always like the bass a little louder. This is cool. Next thing we add in is the piano. And then we add the sax. Keep the sax nice and quiet. It's just there in the back. And here we have our song. Alright, so we can click stop. And now, the last thing you need to do for this is you need to arrange these tracks around. Alright, so some of you did this for extra credit last week. Now this is required. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to turn our loop thing off, right? So we're going to click it. If it doesn't work, we're going to click it again, and it should be gray. Now, with that off, we can play the beginning of the song.
It's been a long day without you, my friend.
But doesn't it sound a little weird when all the instruments come in right over here? So let's change that, okay? Then maybe we'll have the drums come in here, but let's move the bass back. Let's have it come in on the second half. Do the same thing for the piano, and maybe the saxophone I'll have come in a little bit later. Okay, and now what we're going to do is I use my little loop tool. You go to the top right of the track, and then you can move these back. Alright, and all you're doing when you're dragging and tracking over is you grab it and you click and you just move back and forth. So that's all you need to do. And now the song's going to naturally build up. It's going to sound a lot better than everything coming back at once. So let's listen.
It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you again.
So once you do that, you add your loops in for your 4 instruments, you adjust the volume of everything, and then you drag your loops around to make the instruments come in at different times. You are finished. This is all you need to do for this project. You're going to click save. It's going to save the project, and you're going to click exit studio, and then you will be done. I will see it automatically, and you'll be all set to go. This shouldn't take you that long, right? This video has been 10 minutes, right? So this should only take you around 10 to 15 minutes if you just want to do the bare minimum, okay? So if you want extra credit, just like last week, there's going to be an option for extra credit. You can get 5 extra points by making it twice as long. So you're going to take this guy right here, and again, this is only if you want extra credit. All right, you're going to take this red track right here, right-click, and you're going to copy. And then you're going to move this guy right over to the end on measure 11. You're going to right click and you're going to click paste. And now what that did, if I drag this back over, is it doubled the length of our song. So now our vocals are going to repeat. It's going to come in over here. And what we can do is we can drag all of these over. Right? Or instead of dragging everything over, let's rearrange it again. Right? So let's say I want the bass to stop here, but then I want it to start again. So I'm going to start the bass in again over here. And I'm going to do the same thing with the piano. And the same thing with the saxophone. We'll put it all right here. Now I'm just going to arrange these over a little bit. Let's see. Put the bass up to there. Maybe I'll take the drums out here. And I'll bring them back in right here. Oh, so when I pasted that in, it moved me all the way back. So I go to my loop tool and I slide it all the way back here because I don't need a lot of that extra, right? And maybe I want the piano to come back in with this. Same thing with the saxophone. Then I'm going to trim these out. Now let's listen to the whole thing.
It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you again. It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you again.
So not perfect, but you get the idea. Okay, so if you want those extra credit points, you're going to copy this over and then you're going to keep the song going. It shouldn't be exactly the same what you do here. You can keep building it up. You can add more instruments. Okay, it's up to you. It's your song. Okay, again, the only requirements that you need to have, so you need to have drums, bass, piano, and some other instrument. You get those by going to your loop library. You need to change the volume of every track, which we went over, right? You click and you drag it. And then you also need to arrange the loops. Start to drag them around to come in at different times. All right, so I hope this helps you. I'm always here to answer your questions. Just shoot me an email. I'll always help you out. If you want feedback on what you're doing, just tell me to check it out and I'll let you know how it sounds. Yeah, so just save it and exit Studio and you're all done.